Starfield, Bethesda's latest major release, promised an expansive universe for players to explore, full of choices, exploration, and creativity. But beyond the excitement, there's a controversial feature that raises serious ethical questions: paid mods in the creations marketplace. This is not the first time community-created content is monetized directly by the developer, blurring the line between fan creativity and corporate profit. However, Bethesda pushed the creations marketplace harder with Starfield than any of their other previous games. Who really benefits from this system, and how does it shape how players view both the game and its creators? To understand this, I've applied a deontological ethical lens inspired by Erica Neely's work on microtransactions and loot boxes. The idea is simple. If an action or concept feels wrong to one person, it likely violates a broader moral standard between all people everywhere. In Starfield's case, when players see their unpaid labor or creativity being monetized largely for Bethesda's profit and getting barely any kickback themselves, many perceive it as exploitative. Katja Brunk argues that unethical corporate decisions can erode trust and damage brand perception long term, and Starfield seems a perfect example of this, where Starfield started with a large player base and then quickly descended into a much smaller player base after the game came out and people realized they didn't quite like it, or that they would have to pay a bunch of money to get things fixed or things added to the game that should have been there in the first place with their first purchase. People didn't like sitting there having to go through this marketplace and buying the new Alliance faction and having to spend more money on a game they've already spent 60, 70, or even $80 now in USD on. To understand this, or sorry, paid mods turn community contributions into a revenue stream, but not always fairly. Creators put time and effort into improving the game while the company takes a significant cut and then still tries to sell it to everyone else who wasn't involved without giving it out for free. This shifts the relationship between developer and player. Instead of collaboration, it becomes transactional. Miguel Sicart emphasizes that ethical game design respects player agency. Yet in Starfield, meaningful content and tools for creativity are locked behind paywalls. Players' choices and creative freedom are now constrained by money, undermining the sense of agency that makes an open world games engaging in the first place. Starfield's paid mods highlight a larger trend in gaming, the monetization of creativity and community. Ethical concerns go beyond design choices. They shape how players perceive developers and whether they feel valued or exploited. By applying ethical frameworks and reflecting on these systems, we can better understand not only Starfield, but the evolving relationship between games, creators, and players in the modern digital economy. As players and creators, it's worth asking, what kind of games and communities do we want to support?